Welcome back to our podcast, Life Under the Moon. I am your host, Samy Bee, and today we are celebrating the new moon in Scorpio. The theme of this new moon is how and what to transform in your life. Now, that can be a huge selection of many things, and I think it works very well, as usual, with the topic that I want to discuss with you today. So this morning, I realized that on my summer bucket list vision board, one of the things that I feel like I haven't quite completely accomplished yet is slow mornings. I just feel the rush of society and the rush of work pressure way too much in my life. And you might feel the same because I'm sitting there on the deck with my cup of tea and my book in hand and my tablet ready to read some workbooks that I've been behind on because I put that stuff aside for responsibilities. But I'm realizing that society makes us believe that that is wrong. It is wrong to slow down. It is wrong not to make a large amount of money. It is wrong to not get married. It is wrong to not have children. It is wrong to not be like everybody else. And the more I learn and the more I grow, the realize that society is wrong. And it's teaching us the wrong ways to live. And I wish that I could have listened to this podcast when I was growing up and little, because it would confirm to follow my dreams and to not back down of what my soul truly desires. And luckily, I always have followed my dreams, but it's definitely a lot harder to do that when you have society whispering in both of your ears telling you that your dreams don't matter. You need a good paying job. You need this. You need a house. You need a mortgage. You need this. You need everything. You need a fancy car. You need a family. No, you don't. I'm here telling you that you don't. And I hope you realize that. Because we are not here to be like everybody else. We are here to fulfill our soul's purpose. And that is the journey of our own individual life. So back to me sitting on the deck this morning and putting work aside as best I can. And let me tell you, it has not been easy trying to tell myself that work isn't important. Basically, I'm telling myself that work isn't important because I spent the last 2 years of my life working, and I genuinely mean a solid 2 years. I didn't take weekends off. I worked till midnight every single night. When did I get time to spend time and grow and learn with my boyfriend? When did I get to actually spend genuine time with my family, my cat, my dog, my friends, my extended family? I missed out on so many trips, vacations, experiences, adventures, life. I missed out on life because I told myself that the key to success is working as hard as you can, as many hours as you can squeeze into the day. And it just wasn't good enough, you know? I told myself that the harder I work, the happier I'll be. And that is basically me listening to society. Society saying that you need to work every single second of your life and you owe your life to your job. That's wrong. That is not what life is about. Life is about riding your spiritual adventure. Life is about listening to your inner instincts. I've talked about this in a previous episode where I realized that I need to start following my gut instinct when it says, okay, right now you need to go sit on the deck and read. And then my societal mind says, no, I need to sit in my desk, in my chair at my office and work. and I need to work until I get this job done. And I know I won't get this job done today, so that means I'm going to be working very late, and I'm going to not sit outside and enjoy the sunshine today. And I realized that living like that and going against that inner intuition, because it is your intuition speaking to you. I always thought intuition was just for those big moments where you're trying to figure out if you need to make that move, that change your job, like the big things in life. But your intuition is guiding you every step of the way. You just have to be perceptive enough to listen. And I don't think a lot of us are. And I'm still working on that. I'm still realizing that your intuition is always talking to you and telling you about those little things and guiding you. And I am still working on that, but it is changing my life for the better. So I'm sitting on the deck and I'm realizing, reading my workbook. And I know I've mentioned this before, that I adore reading moon omens literature, and they're very wise. It's a very wise group of people who make this stuff. It's where I get a lot of my inspiration and spiritual growth from. No, this is not sponsored. I just love them so very much. One of the workbooks that I was reading today, it was touching a lot on where in your life are you focusing too much on responsibilities and not enough of your spiritual self and your inner happiness. And that really spoke to me, because it's true. I put work first 90% of the time. And that means that 10% of my life is now dedicated to, well, anything other than work. So for me, I have a lot of interests and hobbies. So I have to fit all of that in 10%. I'll name you guys like 10 things. My relationship, adventuring and hiking, spending time with my furry animal friends and family, reading, learning more things about life, like taking courses, reading books, reading blogs that inspire me to grow and to be genuinely happy with where I am in life, cooking and playing video games and recording my YouTube videos. And there's so many things in life that I love. And that's not even including taking time, spending time with friends and family and anything like that. But how am I supposed to fit all of that into 10% of my life? What gives my work and my job the right to take up 90% of my life? I don't want that, and that is not the right way to live. And I realized this sitting outside this morning. So everything needs to be balanced. When I read that question in my workbook, I realized that work is important because I'm passionate about what I do. I need to make money to live, survive, and be happy. But also, it's not any more important than my need to read about this stuff. It's not any more important than it is to take time off to go camping with my family. It is not any more important than it is for me to sit and play video games and relax my mind and have a fun night. It is not any more important than me taking an evening with my boyfriend to sit with some popcorn and watch our favorite show. It is not any more important than anything. Making money is not more important than anything. If anything, we should be focusing more on making less money and being more happy. Because I think society makes the goal, make more money, be more happy. And that's wrong. I'm here to tell you that that's wrong. Society lies to you. Society lies to all of us. It's about making the world go round. It's about making other people money. It's about making other people happy. It has nothing to do with you. So you need to balance all of your interests and health and happiness and hobbies. Everything needs to be balanced. Your work is not any more important than any other piece of your life. And I'm telling you that right Now, you do not need $1 million to be happy. I understand that life is hard and you struggle, and money does make the world go round, and money is essential for living and living comfortably. I've lived very uncomfortably for many years of my life without a washer, without a shower, without a toilet, without plumbing, without a kitchen, without anything, without all the things that you have. I have lived without for many years that everyone takes for granted. I know what it's like, and I know the comforts of what money can bring you and buy you. I'm not saying don't get a job and don't make money. I'm saying follow your dreams, follow your passions, but don't work a job only for the sake of making a lot of money. You're not living in alignment, and you will not go far when you live not in alignment. I can guarantee you that. Even if it's a high paying job, it will never bring you the happiness that's something else that you truly desire will. And that money is basically what you're working for, is to bring you and buy you happiness. But you'll never find that ultimate happiness if you're not living in alignment. So the moral of this podcast story, it's not a story, it's more of a very important message that I do want to spread and share with the world. So whoever is listening, thank you, because I genuinely believe that this is so important for all of us to begin to slowly change how we live our lives. And when we start with ourselves, it reflects into the entire world, the full collective of all of us, how we're all connected. And when you see someone living in their true alignment, it's like, wow, how did life just work for them? But it's because they are living in alignment with their soul, with their wants and needs. And I want you to do that too. I want you to do the same. So this not only is a podcast for you, but a podcast and a reminder for me to realize that every single aspect of your life is just as equally as important as the next. And for me personally, I put my job before everything, and I'm sure most of us do. Think about how society is structured. We work 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and I'm just saying like an average typical structure of someone. 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. That is it for the entire life. You work from when you graduate college, because you're expected to go to college, and then you work until you're 65, and then you retire, and then now you're 65, you have back pain and you can't do anything. But that, now you have money. Now you have everything you've ever wanted. It's not true. You work 65 years, you're not going to have $65 million in your bank account. It doesn't work that way. You'll have the same amount of money in the end and when you did in the start, in a way. Because if we all live paycheck to paycheck, nothing's going to change. If you don't have a savings account, you're going to have the same amount of money when you're 65 as when you're 35. I'm telling you that right now. So if you think that working your whole life, there's just this magical ending, it's not about the ending. It's about the journey. And we are all structured to believe that working our entire life, I mean, that's 5 out of 7 days a week. That is 8 hours out of 24, and another 8 of those hours we're sleeping. So we're only left with like 8 hours, maybe, to do whatever we want. And that doesn't include meal prepping and working out and spending time with family and squeezing in time with friends and maybe going hiking and trying to plan something fun for the family and going exploring, going grocery shopping. That doesn't include any of that. So yeah, life gets busy, and society wants us to live like that, expects us to be happy. And here I am thinking that I'm on the right path by working as hard as I possibly can. And I realize now that that is so far from the truth. So I'll tell you what was going on in my mind when I was outside realizing this. I realized that, yes, I have a lot of work to do. When, like, this day ahead, my project board, it is filled. Like, I have a lot of work to do. But deep down, There's a lot of reading I want to do. Reading that betters my soul, betters my life, allows me to relax, allows me to look up from my book and watch the trees glisten in the morning wind with the dew still on them, glittering, and my hot tea steaming beside me on my table while my cat and my dog lay beside me sleeping and enjoying the morning shade before it gets warm out. And just smiling that I am exactly where I need to be, not thinking about work, not being in the office at, 10 o'clock in the morning, because that's not what life is about. Life isn't about dedicating our life to our job. Life is about dedicating our life to our life. And I got that wrong for so many years. And so here I am sharing my awakening with you to tell you that life isn't about working. It's about having a balance of every single thing in your life. So again, what was going on in my mind was I was thinking, okay, I have many, 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 many projects and hours ahead of me that I eventually will get done. But I also have books and things that I want to read. And, when I say I watch TV, I mean, I watch like informative stuff. But you don't have to just watch things that make you feel like you're utilizing your time. You can relax and watch something fun and exciting. But for me, there's so many things that I want to do still in this life. And when I dedicate 90% of my job to that life, I'm probably not going to get a lot of that 10% done, because that 10% also has like, it's stacked to the max with things that I want to experience and enjoy in life. So I'm realizing that even though my schedule today looks and could potentially be full, here I am realizing that 90% of my day should not and will not be dedicated to work. I'm always thinking, okay, if I'm not working that full 8 hours a day, I'm unproductive and I am slacking and I am not contributing to society in the way that it needs me to. And that means that I am a slacker. And that means that I am not productive enough. And that means that I'm disappointed in myself at the end of every day. Now I view it as, no, you do not need to work 8 hours today to be successful. Even if you have 100 hours of work to do, those hours will get spaced out and those projects will get done when they need to get done. And if people can't accept that, then maybe you're in the wrong industry. And that's something I've been realizing lately, is that exact notion. That things get done when they get done. And if people can't accept that, and if people need to rush through their life, I don't want to encourage that. So I'm looking at my day thinking I have X amount of hours, and I have X amount of hours in my day, X amount of hours I have of work, and everything else what just gets put on the back burner like usual. Not anymore. Now I'm realizing that I can dedicate, take my day and start scheduling it into little sections and themes. So, like, for example, we have the theme of our career, our job, what makes us money, what helps us survive, and what we're passionate about. So we have a section of our job. So we're going to have a section of that in our day, in our schedule for work. We're also going to have a section and I'm just going to use my day for an example, for reading, researching. In the background, there are so many courses that I want to take because I want to further my career in different categories. I want to take courses so that I can service society, while like my soul is telling me to pick up another career. And if I don't make time for that, I will never do that, because like I said, if I have 100 hours of work to do every day, I will never be able to follow other dreams if I don't dedicate time. But how can people dedicate time for things that they love when they believe that work comes first? So we have a column for our job. We have a column for further research, because I love researching. That might be boring to a lot of people, but I love it. I love learning and growing. Another thing I really want to do, and I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, and I literally never do it, is play video games. Just sit and relax with my boyfriend and play video games tonight. I never do it. I always think that I'm not productive enough. I didn't do enough work throughout the day. So I end up working until it's time to go to bed. And at that point, I didn't even get to really see him, spend quality time with him or anything, because I'm busy working. So I'm going to section a little bit of my day off for video gaming. And I'm going to section a bit of my day off to go outside in nature and go for a walk around the yard with Boris, my dog, and Cicely, my kitty, and to just spend time with them, because they are the most important thing in my entire life. So I'm going to section off part of my day for that, because I want to do that. And I'm also going to section off a part of my day off for working out, because my health is very important to me. So I am going to section off that. So all of these categories now that you can see I have laid out, I have, 5 categories that are super important to me today. And every day can look differently, but every day must have sections. And now I'm looking at those 5 sections and I'm like, okay, so this will take 1 hour, this will take 1, this will take 3, and this will take 5. So that's basically my day. That's how it's laid out. But work does not take 90%. Work is maybe taking 5 or 4 hours out of my day instead of the normal 8 like society says it should. No, not anymore. We're changing that. We're changing the way society runs. We do not need to be spending our whole entire life working a job that we either hate, or a job in general that maybe we love but just takes up literally 90% of our time and our life, and that is not living in alignment. So now we have all these categories, and the main thing I want you to remember about all those categories is that they are all equally important. The video gaming is just as important as working my job, designing people's houses. And designing people's houses is just as important as taking my furry family out tonight for a walk. It is just as important. And this is the whole point of my podcast, is all of these things in your life, your interests, your love, your hobbies, everything is just as important as your job or the thing that takes up 90% of your time. It is just as important. But I think for the most of us, it is work that we put first. So I want you to know right now that every single thing in your life is just as important as your job. Just as important. Nothing is more or less important. Everything is equally important. And you need to start taking time out of your day to fit those categories in so that everything is equal. And I understand if you have an 8 to 5 job and you're like, well, I can't just take time off work. Like I have a set schedule. I do fully understand that. I have been there. I am blessed and lucky enough to work from home where I can make my own hours, make my own time, choose my own day, my own plan, and that's not for everyone. So I understand that. So for those of you who do work that 8 to 5, I want you to take those 8 hours and everything outside of that where you are awake to schedule those important things in. Because if you're scheduling to go to work from 8 to 5 because that's most important, then you have no issue scheduling that gym time after work from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock to hit the gym before you go home and, cook for your family and, experience life and get ready for the next day. There's no reason why, if work can be scheduled, then the gym can be scheduled. And if the gym can be scheduled, then time tonight watching a movie with your family can be scheduled. All of these things in life can be scheduled. It's not just about work schedules. It's about life schedules. And that is what I want to focus on with you guys for the next 2 weeks. I feel like this was a lot of information, but it is so important for me to get this out to you so that we can start changing the way society runs, because society is not running properly. This is not the way to live. We should not be living our life to work. We should not be working to live. We should be living to work, living to experience, living to enjoy the freedom of our own life. So, everyone, please leave your wish that you want us to all manifest in the comments below. If we all manifest someone's wish together, we can make everyone's dreams come true. I truly believe that. I believe that the more power that we put into something, the more likely it is to come true. So let's manifest for everyone to have a wonderful 2 weeks. Focus on balancing our life with our crazy schedules, and maybe, just maybe, we will find that right, perfect balance in life where we feel like we are now living in true alignment, where money isn't even a thought, because now we realize that we are happy with everything that we already have. So let's go manifest our dreams with our life under the moon.